While appearing at a virtual press conference earlier on Thursday, Harmon spoke on a number of matters currently in the public domain, such as the recent bout of fires around the country, civilian killings by members of the police force, the COVID-19 situation, and renewable energy for the country. At that forum, the leader of the opposition suggested that something sinister seems to be afoot in relation to the killings of several civilians by members of the Guyana police force. Harmon stated that the parliamentary opposition may have to conduct its own investigations into these matters and present those findings to the United Nations.
I think that this is where the world is, and that is really what we're going to have to do. We'll have to go to the UN because I find that there's a certain level of disrespect by the administration for entities and organizations that are local, and they pay absolutely no attention to the recommendations and findings. But when it gets out there and they have to answer, that is when you get decisions. And we believe that that is the right forum for this matter.
Harmon also pointed out that a team of opposition members of parliament, comprising former magistrate and Shadow Minister of Home Affairs Gita Chandan Edmund, met with the Minister of Home Affairs Robeson Ben recently to discuss several outbreaks of fires which have erupted across the country. But the minister was unwilling to cooperate.
And the team, led by the Shadow Minister of Home Affairs Gita Chandan Edmund, met with the minister, and after a lengthy meeting, the report to me was that the minister was very non-committal, that he refused to provide any additional information which will give the public, the Guyanese public, some amount of comfort that at least the ministry knew what it was doing, and that the Guyana police force were on top of an investigation. The team left there no better informed than they were when they went into that office. We've heard a lot of speculations as to the origin of these fires from government officials, but none of them articulated a proper plan on how we will deal with such occurrences going forward.
On the matter of renewable energy, it was said by the opposition leader that the Vice President's recent utterances suggesting that the former administration did nothing to implement and execute the recommendations of the Green State Development Strategy is false. He pointed out that Bartica, Lethem and Mabruma, for example, were equipped with telecommunications and solar infrastructures to foster and bolster both telecommunications and electricity in those townships. He further emphasized that Bartica was meant to be the microcosm of those projects.
I can point to you Bartica as an example, and you can see the number of consultations, the number of initiatives that were taken in this regard as it relates to Bartica. Because Bartica basically was meant to be the microcosm, the showpiece of this entire initiative.
Nightly News questioned the opposition leader as to whether he believes it was a well-thought-out strategy, given its commitment of 100% renewable energy by 2025, as outlined in its nationally determined contribution to reversing climate change, to which he retorted that those commitments were not necessarily written in stone, and further that the strategy was yet a work in progress, even up to when his government demitted office in 2020. There has been much fuss over the past few days over a lack of consultation with the Guyanese people by the PPP administration as it relates to commitments being made on their behalves in relation to Guyana's nationally determined contributions to reversing climate change. While the APNU AFC is asserting the need for more consultations to be held in this regard, the Vice President, Bharat Jagdeo, in a missive issued to members of the media on Wednesday, committed to holding more consultations as well as circulating a draft of the nationally determined contributions on Guyana's behalf. All this needs to be done before October 31st, which is when the Vice President is expected to lead a team to Scotland, where he will represent the country and make Guyana's commitments to helping to reverse climate change. Meanwhile, Harmon also gave a thumbs-up notion that he is considering running for the leadership of the PNCR at its upcoming Congress, sometime before the year ends.
I'm actively considering a run. And my considerations are well advanced.
Wendell Badrie for the HGP Nightly News.